Today let us have a small discussion about the refraction of light at curved surfaces. Previously we have seen the refraction of light at a plane surface. Now we are trying to see the refraction of light at a curved surface. My dear friends, please try to understand this is a rarer medium and this completely it is a denser medium. This complete area is a denser medium. Please try to understand. This is a rarer medium where the refractive index is N1 and this completely it is N2. The refractive index is N2. It is a denser medium. Imagine let it be a glass or water, something like that. Now we are going to get the relation between N1, N2. That is the refractive indices of the two media. Next, the object distance, the image distance and the radius of curvature. We are going to derive the relation between these quantities. We are going to do a small derivation. So, already you know about when we have discussed about the mirrors, we know what is the center of curvature, what is the focal length, what is the principal axis, what is the normal, what is an incident ray, refracted ray. Same thing exists here also. Different terminology. Because this is the curvature. Once again I am trying to repeat. This is the curvature. With this curvature, if we complete a sphere, a three-dimensional figure. If we complete a sphere, that sphere is having a center called the center of curvature. So already you know about it. And here, this is called the pole. Already you know that also, the pole. The imaginary line which is drawn through the pole and center of curvature, this line is called the axial line. Principal axis. This is called the principal axis. So, my dear friends, now even that also you know about it. The normal always passes through the center of curvature. This is a normal. You draw any normal, it always passes through the center of curvature. That also is known to you. Now, my dear friends, this medium is a rarer medium. This is a denser medium. This has a refractive index N1. Previously, we used the alphabet mu to indicate the refractive index. In some textbooks, it will be written as N. You can write either mu or N, any alphabet the same. Now I am trying to use N as alphabet. So my dear friends, now refractive index is, here I am using, in the place of mu I am using N, don't think otherwise. It is only indicating the refractive index. In standard textbooks, most of the standard textbooks use mu. But in some textbooks they use N. Both means the same. So okay, this is the object. Please try to understand. This is the object. From the object we are taking one ray is going. This is the incident ray. This is the incident ray. At this point A, it is getting incident on this surface. And this is the normal. This is the normal drawn. And this incident ray, this is the angle of incidence. Theta 1 is the angle of incidence. This ray actually it has to go like that, but it gets deviated because it is entering from a rarer medium to a denser medium. The ray moved towards the normal, already you know that. So now it has moved towards the normal and taking a bend and just going like that. Now this is another ray. This is another ray. In this direction there is another ray which is coming. These two rays are meeting at a point called I, where the image is formed. So my dear friends, our image is formed at I. So here this angle of refraction we are calling it as theta 2. Theta 2 is the angle of refraction. You know that this angle between the refracted ray and the normal is called the angle of refraction. And my dear friend, here this is the principal axis, my dear friend. This is the principal axis. P is the pole, already known to you. N is the normal. From A, you drop a normal. You drop a line. If you drop a line, that is meeting the principal axis at N. The foot of the perpendicular. Okay, right? This is N. But this distance is very less. P and N are very close to each other. They are very close to each other. So, my dear friends, this distance is very less. And when we do an experiment, generally for you to understand, I have taken a ray like this, which is far away from the principal axis. But we generally take a ray very close to the principal axis. These rays are called the paraxial rays. When the ray is taken very close to the principal axis, we call it as the paraxial ray. We generally take such kind of rays. but for you to understand everything, I am considering a ray which is a bit far away from P. So my dear friends, here this is a angle alpha. This is the angle alpha. This is the angle beta. This is the angle gamma. These are the Greek alphabets which we are using now. Next, you know that in any triangle, you take any triangle. This is called the exterior angle ABC. Triangle ABC, exterior angle alpha. Let us say alpha. Let us take this as angle X or beta. This is gamma. Exterior angle is equal to sum of the interior opposite angles. An exterior angle is equal to sum of the interior opposite angles, that you already know, because in the case of geometry already this is a known point to all the children. So now my dear friends, now when you take a triangle like this, means you consider the triangle OAC. Consider triangle OAC. In this particular triangle, theta 1 is an exterior angle. Theta 1 is an exterior angle which is equal to sum of the interior opposite angles. That means alpha plus beta. This is equation number 1. So, exterior angle is equal to the sum of the interior opposite angles. Now, please consider this triangle. Please consider this triangle. That means triangle ACI. If you write the triangle ACI, I think you might have understood this is the triangle ACI. In this particular triangle, this is the exterior angle. Means beta is an exterior angle which is equal to the interior sum of the interior opposite angles, that is theta 2 is theta 2 plus gamma. Or you can also write like theta 2 is equal to, or otherwise you can even say that this implies theta 2 is equal to, see, you have to bring this gamma this side, that means beta minus gamma. This is equation number 2. Now you got the value of theta 1 and you also got the value of theta 2 in terms of alpha and beta. My dear friends, please try to recollect the previous theory what we have discussed. Please, if you don't know, please once again see the previous videos. Now we have already seen that mu21 or mu2 by mu1 is equal to sin I by sin r. We already discussed this. From this we told that mu1 sin I is equal to mu2 sin r. This already we have discussed. This is standard form, already we have discussed. If you have any doubt, you can please just go through the previous class, you can understand. So mu21 means refractive index of the second medium with respect to the first medium is written as mu2 by mu1 is equal to sin I by sin r. Cross multiplication, after cross multiplication you get the standard notation. Now we are going to, now in this derivation wherever there is mu I am using N. So I can write the standard equation as N1 sin I is nothing but this is I, means theta 1 is equal to mu2 is nothing but, in our case we are saying N2 sin theta 2. I think how you got, I think you are convinced with this equation. This we are getting from this standard equation, already we have done it. So my dear friends, now we got a standard form, that is N1 sin theta 1 is equal to N2 sin theta 2. From this, my dear friends, because I already told that we take the rays very near to the axis, called the paraxial rays, the angles are very small. When the angles are very small, we know that sin 0 is equal to 0. Sin of any small angle is the same angle. So sin theta also becomes equal to theta when the angle is very small. Now in our case the angles are very small, so we consider just sin theta 1 as equal to theta 1. So now N1 theta 1 is becoming equal to N2 theta 2. Because we are taking the angles are very small, we are considering sin theta 1 as theta 1. Now theta 1 is already known to us. N1 into theta 1 is given as alpha plus beta is equal to n2 into theta 2 is given as beta minus gamma. We are just replacing the value of theta 1 and theta 2 in this equation. Now my dear friends, please try to understand here. When the angles are small, the angle is also considered as equal to, when any angle is small, theta is also equal to tan theta. Now we are trying to find out the values of alpha, beta, gamma in terms of tan theta. What is this tan theta? Tan theta means nothing but, my dear friends, if you take a right angle triangle, already you know that if you know, take a right angle triangle, this is the angle theta, this is called the opposite side, adjacent side, hypotenuse, given name A, B, C. Now sin theta means, already you know, sin theta is opposite side by hypotenuse, already you know that, I need not tell you. Now tan theta is equal to opposite side by adjacent side. The ratio of opposite side and the adjacent side is called tan theta. So now the ratio of the opposite side with the adjacent side is called tan theta. Now my dear friends, alpha has nothing but equal to, now we will write the values of alpha, beta and gamma in terms of the ratios. Please try to understand. Alpha is nothing but equal to tan alpha, because when angles are small, alpha, and that is equal to, tan alpha is equal to, you just see this triangle, that means BANO, OAN, this triangle. Tan alpha is nothing but equal to opposite side. This is the opposite side. Means AN by, this is the adjacent side, ON. ON is the adjacent side. Now I can replace alpha by AN by ON. And next I can replace beta by tan beta, which is equal to, see my dear friends, take this triangle. Now take this triangle, right angle triangle, you are having a right angle triangle here. Now tan beta is equal to opposite side. This is the opposite side. Means AN by this side, that is NC. Similarly, gamma is equal to tan gamma, which is equal to, see my dear friends, when you are taking gamma, take this triangle, right angle. Always you have to go for a right angle triangle. So now you are taking the triangle AIN. In this, tan gamma is equal to opposite side. This is opposite side. Means AN by, this is adjacent side. NI is the adjacent side. So now we are going to replace, my dear friends, now you got, we are going to replace alpha, beta and gamma by this ratio. And again one more correction. I already discussed that n is very near to P. So when this distance n is very near to P, I can even write it as, this is nothing but, instead of AN, I can even write as, wherever there is n, I can replace by P. So AP by AN, OP, that is equal to AP by, see, whenever there is n, I am replacing with P, because they are very near to each other. AP by PI. See, I just replaced because they are very near, very close to each other. Now my dear friends, now I am trying to replace this. Now I am trying to replace all these quantities. Now my dear friends, can I open the bracket now? N1 into alpha. Let me take all the betas to one side and bring the now plus, see my dear friends, N1 beta is equal to N2 beta minus N2 gamma. Just I open the bracket. Now my dear friends, here alpha term, there is only one alpha term and one gamma term, but there are two beta terms. Let us bring all the beta terms to one side. Let us bring this that side and let us bring this side. So in the next step it becomes N1 alpha. Again in the place of alpha I can write it as, now again I am replacing alpha by AP by OP. Now I am replacing alpha by AP by AP, please that is AP by OP plus, see my dear friends, this gamma I am trying to bring this side. So minus becomes plus. Now plus N2 into gamma. Gamma is nothing but AP by PI is equal to, now I am trying to bring beta is common in both. Beta is common in both. So I am taking beta as common. N2 is there already. This if I bring that side it becomes minus N1 by, okay, this, now my dear friends, beta I have taken as common. So in the place of beta, now please try to understand, I am replacing it with AP by PC. Now I think you might have understood, in the place of beta I am replacing it by AP by PC. I think you understood this. Now AP is common everywhere. You can cancel because it is there in every term. See, you cannot cancel if it is not there in every term, but it is there in every term. So you can cancel AP in every term. I think now it is very clear to you. Now my dear friends, in the next case, please try to understand. Please try to understand what I am going to do in the next step. This is OP. See my dear friends, this is OP. OP is nothing but object distance. This is nothing but object distance. Next, PI. PI is nothing but image distance. That is B. PI is nothing but the image distance. I think now you got what is. And next PC. This PC is nothing but the radius of curvature R. PC is nothing but the radius of curvature R. Now, my dear friends, please try to understand. Now we are going to apply the sign convention also into picture. Now we are going to bring the sign convention also into picture. Please try to follow. Please try to understand. Here I am trying to rub this part so that I can do my solving here. My dear friends, now in this particular case, please try to understand. Sign convention, please try to recollect what is sign convention. Along the direction of light, we have taken positive. Against the direction of light, we have taken negative. The same thing we are going to use it now. So my dear friends, here that is N1, now OP. See, this is the direction of light. Light is going like that. Now, but we measure anything from the pole. My dear friends, please be careful. Any measurement must be taken from the pole. So, when I am doing this measurement, my hand is moving opposite to the direction of light. So, now I must take it as minus. I must take it as minus. Now, N1 by OP. OP is nothing but minus U plus N2 by, now PI. See, when I am taking this PI, always the measurement is going from P to I. So, that is along the direction of light. So, I must take the value of V as positive. So, V is taken positive. Is equal to N2 minus N1 by, now PC. When I am measuring this again P to C in the direction of light. So, it is positive. So, that is positive. So, my dear friends, now you are getting an equation. That is, because this is a negative term, I can write here, anywhere it is the same. So, finally we want to derive this equation. See, we already got it. That means N2 by V minus N1 by U is equal to N2 minus N1 by R. This is the relation which is relating this N1 is the refractive index of the rarer medium, N2 is the refractive index of the denser medium, U is the object distance, V is the image distance, R is the radius of curvature. We got a derivation relating these quantities. Now, my dear friends, if it is a plane surface, means the curvature is plane. It indicates that curvature is plane means the radius is almost infinity. When the curvature is plane means radius is considered to be, for a plane surface, the radius is considered to be infinite. The value of the radius is we consider it as infinity. See, infinity is nothing but equal to, see, 1 by 0. Generally we say it is 1 by 0. So, my dear friends, when this R becomes infinity, this quantity becomes this your right hand side becomes equal to 0 because now r is becoming infinity. So, my dear friends, 1 by infinity means 1 by 0. 1 by 0. Infinity means 1 by 0. 0 goes to the numerator. 0 into anything becomes 0. So, this quantity becomes 0. So, this is now equal to 0. So, I can write it as n2 by v is equal to n1 by u, or is equal to 0. In the next step, you can just write it as n2 by v is equal to n1 by u. So, my dear friends, if the plane surface, if it is a plane surface, means if the radius of curvature is infinity, then the relation between the refractive index of the two media, n1 and n2, and the object in the image distance are given by this relation. So, my dear friends, now you understood how to derive this relation. It has to be practiced. If you just listen to the class, it's not sufficient. Please practice. Please draw the diagram using the scale and the pencil. Please do it and explain to someone else. Then you will be more confident in solving this derivation. Now let us see an application for the previous topic. We have discussed the topic refraction of light at a curved surface, and also we have given a conclusion that for a plane surface r is equal to infinity, and we derived this equation n2 by v is equal to n1 by u. Here in this case the question is asked like this. There is a fish and this is observing a bird is flying. And the bird is rushing towards the fish to catch it. This fish, for the eyes of the fish, how is the bird looking like? Is it going faster than the real speed? In what way the bird appears for the fish? So, my dear friends, let us see the case. This is the actual position of the bird, that is, it is the object. And from the object we are getting the rays. From the object we are getting the incident rays falling. And it's getting, after refraction, it is just bending towards the normal, and it is this ray is reaching the eye. This is the position. But for this fish, it just extends its ray. So when you extend this ray appears as if it is coming from this point. So that is the point of the image. That is the point of the image. So my dear friends, so this is the position of the object and that is the position of the image. So the distance between the surface of the water and the image is y. The distance between the surface of the water and the object is x. So my dear friends, here already we came to know that n2 by v is equal to n1 by u, where n1, the value of the refractive index of air is 1 and the refractive index of the second medium is taken as n. So I am now replacing it by, and see the value of v. We are taking the line, this is the direction of light. We are taking the value against the direction. So we will be taking it as minus y. So that's equal to 1 by, n1 is 1 by u. U is also measured in this direction, which is opposite to the direction of the light. So that is again minus x. So minus and minus can be cancelled. So y is equal to m into x. And the refractive index of the denser medium is more than 1. So the y value is more than that of x value. Means the image distance is more than the object distance. So for the fish, actual speed of the object is distance by time. Means distance by time. That is the speed of the object. But for the fish, the velocity of the object seen by the fish eye is distance of the image by time. Time is same. So y by t. So y is more than that of x. So for the fish, it appears as if the bird is coming with a higher speed, much faster than the actual speed. I think now you might have understood. This is the case. So when this is the situation, when this is the question which is asked, the answer is for the fish, the bird